You might want to check out what hotels you reserve for your vacation because there's also a possibility it could be abandoned. Choosing which hotel to stay at is never easy, and you may only want to stay at one of these places now if you're a squatter or you're just really fascinated by urban exploring. From hotels affected by economic crises to resort towns deserted nearly overnight, there are abandoned hotels around the world. Thanks Maria and Eduardo for tuning in all the time. Let us know which hotel you think is the creepiest and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video. Number 12. The Ryu Imperial Tunisia. There won't be any guests checking into the Ryu Imperial anytime soon. What happened to the tourists who once made their vacations here is truly devastating. After a senseless crime took place by radicals, they had no other choice but to close up shop. The gruesome details caused it to close its doors ever since. The crystal clean pool that was once lined with sunbathers has transformed into a silent, green algae-filled pond. Tunisia has taken a severe plummet in tourism after the incident, and it may never return to its former glory. The UK still suggests people should avoid traveling to this country unless they absolutely need to. Number 11. The Salton Sea Resorts. This place is as apocalyptic as it can get, and it might be an interesting place to check out if you can deal with the putrid smell and manage a way to get there. Gallons of water were sent gushing into a dry lake bed after a storm caused an irrigation canal to flood and break. This created a fresh body of water in the process. But the water's not so fresh anymore, and in a sense, the Salton Sea really shouldn't even exist in the first place. A resort town was built near this body of water, and many people once flocked here to soak up the sun, go jet skiing, and drive some fancy boats in the booming 50s and 60s. Not all good things last forever, and this place quickly turned into an ecological nightmare due to pesticides and fertilizers from nearby farms. It became much too polluted to sustain life or even fish. The inhabitants quickly fled once the smell of water became unbearable. To this day, rotting fish litter the once popular beaches, leaving a rotten egg-like smell that would be enough to scare off any urban explorer. Only go there if you dare. Number 10. The Haludovo Palace Hotel. You certainly won't be swimming at the Palace Hotel Resort pool anytime soon on the Adriatic island of Kirk, because it's closed permanently. The hotel is named after a nearby beach and was certainly a hotspot for rich and famous to live it up, and for a cheaper price for many destinations in Europe. In fact, this place received an investment of $45 million from the American founder of Penthouse, Bob Guccione, in 1972. A casino was built here to mainly attract foreign gamblers and was somewhat restricted to non-English speakers. Yugoslavia wasn't exactly a hotspot for tourists at this time, but this Las Vegas-style resort was actually somewhat successful until the war broke out and tourism plummeted. Number 9. Proa. This area was almost like a resort for the Third Reich, where they could show off their power and the natural beauty of Germanic lands to secure loyalty to the cause. This place once housed a cinema, swimming pools, theaters, and more. Construction began in 1939, and it was a remarkable structure meant to last for centuries. For the most part, it actually has. Made out of concrete, this was quite a revolutionary settlement at the time, and many SS recruits were overwhelmed by its striking appearance. Basically, the statement was, look at what we're capable of, look at all the things we can construct, and look how beautiful Germany is. All of this was important to install patriotism and national pride. Recruits would go through rigorous classes, learning about German history and other propaganda here. Once they finally did their time, they were ready to be part of the SS. The structures themselves were actually so well built that in modern times, people are actually turning them into luxury apartments despite the shady past. Number 8. Lee Plaza Hotel. You probably won't be wanting to stay the night here anymore because Google has it as permanently closed. Detroit was probably the hardest hit city during the recent economical crisis. Lee Plaza Hotel was once a prominent hotel in Detroit and was built in 1928 in Art Deco style. Eventually, it was transformed into an elderly home in the final years. It was later seized by the state when they refused to pay taxes. This hotel room we see in the photo was once fully furnished and is now rapidly deteriorating, kind of like the entire city of Detroit. Somehow, the television here seems to remain in perfect shape. In 2016, the city of Detroit purchased the building and they claimed that they will restore it, but we'll see about that. As of right now, it looks like a harsh and tall reminder of Detroit's economic troubles. Number 7. El Hotel del Salto. Just southwest of Bogota, Colombia, is a spooky tourist attraction that dangles on top of a large cliff. It's found in a rainforest with a view of an enormous waterfall. According to legends, during the Spanish conquest of South America, people would actually jump off the cliff in order to avoid slavery. It was once a luxurious hotel teeming with wealthy travelers, but it closed in the 1990s due to the water supply becoming contaminated. At the moment, it looks as though it might have been turned into a museum, and many letters are kept here to document the dark and possibly haunted past. A mythical story claims that one who jumped actually transformed into an eagle during mid-flight and escaped. Number 6. The Fountainbleu Hotel and Casino. This infamously doomed project began in 2007 on the Las Vegas Strip and was set to be the city's tallest complete building with 68 floors. The site was built on what was historically a pretty popular area. However, when the housing crisis hit Las Vegas in 2008, it led to bankruptcy with the owner in 2009. An offer was made by Carl Itchen, and eventually he auctioned off the furnishing of the building, and much of it was scrapped for other casinos. While much of the construction is already almost done, various potential investors have sought to finish the job, but it might cost them a few extra $1 billion. Some believe the hotel will be ready to open in 2020, but who knows? Number 5. The Ducor Hotel, Liberia. You might not really plan to visit the country of Liberia anytime soon, and if you do, you might want to cancel. One good reason not to go is because the Ducor Hotel is abandoned. This first-class international hotel was constructed in the capital city of Monrovia, overlooking a great view. Back in the day, the hotel was an important meeting location for powerful African leaders, but now it's just sitting there, left for the elements to erode it. Situated close to the UN building here, it was established in the 1960s during a time when diplomacy was crucial. It was very popular with wealthy tourists from around Europe and Africa until the Civil War broke out over the area. It endured much damage and looting almost instantly and was occupied by displaced residents. It most likely still is. Number 4. Coco Palms Resort. Once made famous for being the perfect tropical getaway in the state of Hawaii, Coco Palms Resort was almost like a second home to rich and famous celebrities, in particular Elvis Presley. It's said to be on sacred native Hawaiian land and is possibly haunted. The land used here disputably stands on ancient Hawaiian royal property, which caused a big uproar by those who were first here. It opened in 1952 regardless and became extremely popular within a short period of time. People who stay in Hawaii might have to deal with volcanoes or hurricanes from time to time. A storm hit the hotel in 1992, and since then, it's been hard to repair. In 2014, it caught on fire, and its condition keeps getting worse and worse. Just recently, in 2017, efforts to exclude squatters from staying here went into effect. Number 3. Ferocious Cypress Hotels. In 1974, the unexpected event took place when Turkey sent armed forces onto the island of Cyprus, partially backed by the US government. Ferocious was once a prosperous beach town where wealthy families enjoyed spending their vacations. At a population of at least 40,000 people calling this place home in 1973, that number turned to zero fairly quickly. The Turks claimed that ethnic Turkish people living in the area were targets of genocide. Instead of bright, shiny lights, the only thing you'll see from the hotels now are broken windows and crumbling walls. Luckily, photographers were still able to snatch some good photos of what remains in this area. But you have to keep in mind, coming here is forbidden by the Turkish. Hotels along the beaches of the Mediterranean Sea are now vacant, and it's now one of the creepiest abandoned places ever. Number 2. Hotel Pripyat. You don't need to bring your suitcase to this one, and you probably already know why it's abandoned. One of the most horrific nuclear disasters took place at the Chernobyl power plant, causing not just the entire city to become abandoned, but also this hotel. Also known as Hotel Policia, this spot is pretty easy to check out on Google Maps and get an eerie vibe from it. It was once in the heart of the city, and it would commonly house scientists and nuclear experts researching the power plant, which would ironically bring an end to the hotel business here. If you're crazy enough to come to Pripyat, this hotel will certainly be on the tour guide. We wouldn't suggest staying the night here at this one. Yelp reviews say it might be a little bit out of date and maids never come by anymore. And number 1, the Bokar Palace, Cambodia. This place is just creepy from the inside and out. Our next one is located in the country of Cambodia, and some of the history here is a little bit too gruesome to mention on YouTube. It was once a very lively place, and the casinos brought in tourists from around the world. It featured plenty of rooms, shops, a post office, but in the 1940s, the European crowd stopped coming here, and in the 1940s, it fell into the wrong hands of the Khmer Rouge. Some claim that members of this regime did awful things here, and this hotel was utilized as one of their strongholds. The Cambodians were firmly entrenched here until the Vietnamese invasion in 1979. Much tropical rainforest that once covered the area is gone due to this conflict. Once the Khmer Rouge was outlawed by the new government, it hasn't operated as any kind of functional building. And like the others, it sits there, abandoned. So which one did you think was the most mysterious? Let us know in the comments section, and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video.